Well, it's been a big week for Coldplay. They've just announced Feels Like I'm Falling in Love. This is their brand new single. They've also got a album coming up. It'll be their 10th album. It's called Moon Music. We're going to check out the single, give you our initial hot take on what we thought. Was there any doubt that this wasn't going to be, in some ways, a dance-based tune, mate?
Good morning, mate. No, look, I think we all knew that the direction of this particular song and this album, which is due out in a few months, they've been heading in this sound for a while. Now, whether you like it or not, it's a bit of an earworm song, really. First listen, I was just like, oh, God, here we go again. But then you find yourself kind of humming it across the house as you do the housework kind of thing. But you know you've kind of made it in life, isn't it, when you can have the lyrics la 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 throughout a song. I don't think it's going to be one that lasts the ages, but on a first listen, I don't think it's as bad as what I thought it might have been.
They're actually very good at doing these types of songs, like Viva La Vida. That's, I think, where it all sort of started to kick off, and they seem to focus more on these types of songs. As well as ballads, they've probably been less rocky since about 2008, to be quite honest. So there's a lot of ways you go, well, look, they're kind of an adult contemporary act, but they're actually kind of as much dance rock now as anything else. The song itself, well, look, it starts off in a sort of a moody verse. It goes into kind of a really quirky pre-chorus, then a big uplifting chorus, and eventually a stadium sing-along. Now, that's kind of the formula, isn't it, for Coldplay? That is the quintessential Coldplay song as it's turned out. And look, I guess that's okay. I mean, you go to a concert, you'll hear this song, and these concerts, like they're almost religious, aren't they? It's always
absolutely.
very uplifting stuff, and they're very talented, they're very smart people, and I can see this going really well at Glastonbury when they play there next week.
Mate, and look, why would you change the Coldplay recipe if it's producing albums that are constantly making hits? Look, they do get kind of mixed reviews in the press from those who are expecting similar sounds from probably their first 4 albums, of which I would be hoping that they would kind of do that. But do you think it would be fair to kind of put Coldplay in the camp of a band that's kind of had 2 halves of their career, and their first kind of 4 albums are separate from the last ones leading up to this new album coming out in October? Do you think that's a fair call? Because I was really into the first 4 albums. I remember where I was when I first heard the song Clocks. That's how the band kind of meant to me. But after kind of XY, I got off them a little bit, but I can see how and why new fans have kind of jumped on board.
Absolutely. Look, even around that 2011 stage, they came out in the press,
Yep.
and they felt as if that people were criticising them, even them, for being on the formula. I mean, since then, they've done other things. They've collaborated with other artists. They've chosen to go down different directions. Now, if they're the directions that are part of their initial fan base, or they're disenfranchising them, I guess that's what happens sometimes. I definitely was thinking that this might be an opportunity to go down a much more sort of back to basics path. They probably haven't really been necessarily a back to basics type of band in a lot of ways, but I was sort of half thinking, well, maybe this might be it for them. But I'm also wondering whether this could be it for Coldplay. Back in 2021, Chris Martin did come out and say that he could see, a limited shelf life with regards to Coldplay album releases. He was putting 2025 as a date. Could this be it? Like, do we think this could be the full stop?
I think it will be, and I think that that'll be their 10th album, and it really rounds out Coldplay, really, doesn't it? I mean, that's kind of 24, 25 years that they've been around for. That's a long time, and to produce 10 pretty high quality albums, I think is a great effort. Now, whether Chris goes on a separate direction himself, I think the band will still tour probably every kind of 2-3 kind of years and still do sell out stadium tours. But I think he's right. I think they have reached their kind of peak, and I think this new album will be really interesting. I do hope that it's mixed in Atmos, which we're a huge fan here at Indie Miners. I think that's going to be really exciting for. But for me, mate, I think that the date has just been pushed up from 2025 to October.
I feel as this could be the full stop. They're very, very smart. They do understand the dynamics of the music industry, that they've really taken things to as far, I feel, as what they could. For example, collaborating with the likes of BTS and others who are quite popular there. They came from almost sort of modest indie beginnings. That's really how they started out. They sort of saw Travis as one of their initial influences, but I feel as if they see the merits of going in different directions creatively, and this is similar to what Radiohead had done now, and with Tom York and Johnny Greenwood with The Smile. They've taken the vehicle in a different way, but you're going to see Radiohead on the road again. Likewise, I see them playing live similar to maybe what the Rolling Stones do. They go out every few years, not necessarily with an album. So there we have it. That's our initial reaction on Feels Like I'm Falling in Love.